Sorry, one of these screens works and the other one does not. Sorry, there's like a few different settings. Is this the one with the working one? It's not that one. Okay, let's go back to this one. Okay. Did I fuck something? There we go. There we go. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. It has been a minute. To say mildly. I hope everybody's doing well. I don't know when was the last time that I streamed. I know that the last time I streamed Star Rail was probably July of last year, because things happened between July of last year and now. But we're not going to address the politics or the drama of any of that. Whatever. All I will say is, yay, we got something workable, and I have really missed doing this. So I am so happy to be back, and so happy that everything regarding strikes and whatnot is over. And that's basically all I'm going to say on that topic. Just going into things. But welcome back in, everybody. I don't know what the last time I streamed, period, was. I think it was when I was doing Phoenix Wright. I did a few streams of Phoenix Wright. Have I gotten the chance to play Magic with Bill Butts? I have! We played a few games at a local game store around Burbank. That was really fun. I've played with a few different people. For those who don't know, I've actually taught a couple voice actors how to play Magic. If you know who Kieran Regan is, I believe he's one of the voice actors in Genshin Impact. I actually taught him how to play on my birthday. I don't remember if that was last year or the year before, but I think it was last year. Maybe. I can't remember. But I remember I made like a PowerPoint presentation and taught him how to play. But have I been doing okay? Well, we're doing a lot better now. I'll say that. I'm doing a lot better now. Things have been moving a lot smoother. Just over the past month, honestly, even the past week, like things have gotten a lot better lately. So, hooray. But I've been doing new types of stuff, planning certain stuff that I want to do. Like I'll probably be posting, like, those of you who are not sports fans, you're probably going to be annoyed by some aspects of my TikTok because I'm probably going to be posting a lot more football content, because, that's been a lot of fun for me. But, aside from that, I've been writing a lot more. I've been, I've tried to, learn how to write, scripts and whatnot. So I've been doing that a lot more. I started working on my first screenplay, or it's either a screenplay or a play script. I'm still trying to figure out which I want to do. I've been trying to jump a lot more into on camera. I actually did some background work on a TV show on Friday. So it's been kind of a lot of discovering avenues of my life and things that make me happy and things in this industry and my art form that make me happy, and kind of reapplying them in all these different places. So it's been kind of like a very intense internal and external journey of rediscovering things about myself. So yeah. Thank you, Silly Imp. I had a lot of fun doing it. It was on Friday night. It was a quick scene. Can't say what it was in, obviously, but I had a lot of fun doing it. Go to any protests? I did. Yes and no. So for those who don't know, my kind of side income, when things are slow, and I've been doing it a lot more over the past several months, is I'll do Uber Eats. And I kind of was doing that yesterday to make some cash. However, I ended up in Pasadena and kind of driving around Pasadena. And while I was doing orders, in between, I would drive through the protests and blast Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. And I would usually honk my horn to the beat of the song. And I ended up starting a few dance parties on on Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena. So that was my contribution to the protests. I didn't have a side, but I did try to keep spirits up in the crowd, you know? Uh, but yeah, it's been really interesting. Another thing I got to do during that time. This is going to be a very long talking about things I got to do in our absence. But I will say, I have been playing the game. I'll get to talking about that in a second, and then we'll jump right in. So one thing that I got to do last year that was honestly like a really cool experience was I got to be a part of the nominating committee for the SAG Awards. And that was really fun because we got to go to a bunch of screening events. I got to discover a bunch of really cool new shows. And I also got to kind of like reacquaint myself with shows that I really loved. I got to meet, professionals and celebrities that, in this field that like, you know, really got to, had a lot of like insight. And I got to like talk to some of them on a one-on-one level. Um, so, Yes, Benton, the yapping will commence. It is my stream, I will talk. So, but, some of the cool, like, some of the cool things I got to experience because of that, I got to meet, people like, I got to meet Natalie Portman, I got to meet Kelsey Grammer, I got to meet Harrison Ford for a little bit. That was pretty cool. I got to meet a lot of the cast of The Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings show. That was really fun. I got to introduce myself to a bunch of new shows that I really, really love. Like, there were shows that I already really liked, like Abbott Elementary, and getting to learn a lot about, like, the way that the cast behind that show works and the writing staff was really fascinating. I also really loved the show Shrinking on Apple TV, and I'll get into my story with that in a second, but that was a really fun experience. Two shows that I genuinely loved discovering. Only Murders in the Building. I adore that show, and the cast is fantastic. If you want a good murder mystery show, watch Only Murders in the Building. And yeah, it was a really fun experience. I got to talk to one of the co-creators of it for a bit. We were talking about a play that I got to see in New York, and he was a big fan of it as well, so we were talking about theater for a little bit. That was really fun. And another show that I found that I absolutely love, if you're into like rom-com-y kind of stuff, if you haven't seen Nobody Wants This on Netflix, fantastic show. Kristen Bell and Adam Brody are just, it's such a good like romance story with a lot of really good humor. I believe his name is Joshua Simon. He was the guy who played Jonah Ryan in Veep. He's in the show, and he's great. Like, he was great in Veep. He's great in this show. But yeah, getting to Shrinking. So I brought up Harrison Ford. So Shrinking's screening event, there were a lot of really cool things. Like, a lot of these events had food. Like, Abbott Elementary's in particular, like, they brought a ton of food trucks onto the Paramount lot and desserts and all this super cool stuff. But Shrinking was the last one that I went to. And it's, for those who don't know what Shrinking is, it is an Apple TV show about therapists, you know, psychiatrists, hence shrinking like a shrink. It stars Jason Segel, Harrison Ford. Jason Segel is one of the main creators of the show. It also has Jessica Williams. If you remember her from The Daily Show, she's one of the main characters in the show. And so the Shrinking screening event was the last one that I got to go to, and it was possibly my favorite, mostly because the whole cast, with the exception of Harrison Ford, like hung out at the cast party, hung out at like the reception afterwards, so we got to chat with them. Harrison Ford actually said to all of us, because somebody asked him if he was coming to the reception, and he was like, "I can't, I have to pick up my wife from the airport." But he literally stayed as long as he could and like signed a bunch of autographs and took pictures with people. Harrison Ford, great dude. The one thing I want to talk about is specifically for Shrinking. At one point in the night, like, I got in kind of like a really elongated group conversation with like me and a few other actors. We got to talk with Jason Segel for a bit. And Jason Segel, somebody I've always been like a pretty big fan of, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, How I Met Your Mother, all those kinds of things. Uh, and Jason Segel, we ended up kind of talking about, like, he was telling us that, like, early on in his career, he was like, the best piece of advice I ever got early on in my career was Judd Apatow came up to me and said, Jason, you're a weird guy. And, basically telling him, you're kind of an interesting archetype, not the type of guy that sees a lot of work in on camera. So he's basically like, if you wait around for work to come to you, you're probably going to wait a while. So you should try making your own stuff. So he taught himself how to write. He read a few books. He started writing screenplays and scripts and stuff. And that's kind of how he got where he is now. And I remember I specifically brought up to him, I was like, yeah, I always have ideas for scripts. I just never know what to do with him. And so Jason Segel tells me, you should check out The Writer's Journey by Christopher Vogler. Just read the book. It'll teach you stuff about writing, and then just like write stuff, and you'll get better at it as you work on it. It just takes time, practice, repetition, that kind of stuff. So at the behest of Mr. Segel, I bought the book, I read the book, and I have been working on my first script. I've already written out the outline, all the character descriptions. I'm just working on the dialogue now, and then I'll be done once that's done. So, yeah. Anyway, that's kind of a sum up of all the good things over the past 11 months. The bad things I will not get into. So, but I'm very happy to see you all again. Very happy to be back here on Twitch. Very happy to be back here with the Honky Star Rizzle. And yeah, Shit Otaku Geek. Only Murders in the Building. Great show. If you like murder mysteries and comedy, so much fun. Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez are the leads, and they're all fantastic. So, yeah, check it out. But, anyway, I can already see that some viewers are starting to dip out after my giant monologue about all the things that I've been up to ever since the break.